The world of slave-maker ants, formerly known as doulotic ants, is a masterclass in psychological and chemical warfare. They don't just win through brute force, they win by hijacking the very language of the colony they are invading. In the ant world, identity is dictated by smell, specifically a cocktail of waxy chemicals on their exoskeleton called cuticular hydrocarbons, CHCs. To subvert a colony, slave makers use three distinct chemical strategies: propaganda, mimicry, and pacification. Infiltration, queen assassination. When a slave maker queen, like Polyergus or Harpagoxenus, starts a colony, she cannot do it alone. She lacks the instinct to forage or tend to larvae. Her first mission is a surgical strike on a host nest. Neutralizer. Upon entering a host nest, often a Formica species, the slave maker queen releases a high-potency calming pheromone. This prevents the host workers from immediately tearing her apart. Identity theft. She tracks down the resident queen and kills her. In some species, the parasite queen will literally lick the fluids of the dead queen or rub against her body. This allows her to wear the scent of the previous monarch, tricking the workers into thinking she is their mother. Takeover. Once she smells like the right queen, the host workers begin feeding her and tending to her eggs. The original workforce becomes the unwitting foster parents for a generation of soldiers designed to kidnap their neighbors. Raid. Propaganda pheromones. When the slave maker colony is established and needs more labor, they launch a raid. This is where propaganda pheromones come into play. Panic. As the slave maker soldiers, like the Amazon ants, march into a target nest, they release massive amounts of diesel butyrate or similar volatile chemicals from their Dufour's gland. Fog of war. These chemicals act as propaganda. Instead of the host ants mounting a coordinated defense, the pheromones trigger a scatter response. The host workers become disoriented, attack each other, or simply flee the nest in a panic, leaving the brood, larvae and pupae, unprotected. Kidnapping. With the defense neutralized by chemical confusion, the slave makers calmly walk in, grab the host pupae, and carry them back to their own nest. Chemical camouflage. Once the kidnapped pupae hatch in the slave maker's nest, they undergo a process called olfactory imprinting. Blank slate. Ants learn what home smells like in the first few hours after hatching. Because these kidnapped ants hatch surrounded by slave makers, they accept the slave maker's scent as the standard smell of a sibling. Unified scent. Over time, the raiders and the slaves exchange chemicals through grooming and sharing food, trophallaxis. This creates a quote, colony odor that masks the fact that they are two different species. The slaves forget they were ever kidnapped and spend their lives cleaning the raiders, feeding them, and even participating in future raids against their own genetic relatives. Evolutionary arms race. The host species aren't entirely defenseless. This arms race has led to some fascinating counter-strategies. Slave rebellion. In some species, such as Temnothorax, the kidnapped slaves eventually realize something is wrong. They can't kill the adult slave makers, who are much stronger, so they engage in evolutionary sabotage. They will stop feeding the slave maker larvae, or even carry them out of the nest and dump them to die. This reduces the number of future raiders, protecting nearby colonies of the slave's original species. Scent refinement. Host species are constantly evolving more complex scents that are harder for parasites to mimic. If a parasite queen's disguise is even slightly off, the host workers will detect the uncanny valley of her scent and execute her immediately. Polyergus, the Amazon ant. The Polyergus genus represents the extreme end of this lifestyle. They are obligate slave makers, meaning they have specialized so much in chemical warfare and combat that they have lost the ability to survive without slaves. Useless jaws. Their mandibles are shaped like curved, razor-sharp sabers. They are perfect for piercing the heads of enemy ants during a raid, but they are physically incapable of picking up food or grooming their own larvae. Dependency. If you were to remove the slaves from a Polyergus nest, the warrior ants would starve to death surrounded by food because they have completely outsourced the boring parts of survival to their captives. That is a fascinating look into the darker side of myrmecology.